Say ciao, hello, it is Indy Atticus, and welcome back to the channel. Recently, there's been an influx of new subscribers, so welcome. I'm very happy. I made a couple new videos about what it's like to live in Vietnam in 2023, and I did one. It was more or less a pros and cons of what it's like to come here. So yeah, I've been kind of stuck in the limbo of like the 400 subscriber, trying to get this channel to grow, trying to find my niche. So I figured, well, why not try niche subjects? Why not try talking about specific random things that people might wonder about when it comes to Vietnam? For example, let's talk about what it's like to be an American living in Vietnam. So we're going to do a little series. We're going to ask simple questions, and I'm going to give you my perspective, an honest perspective. So for any of you sitting in America right now, in the United States, you're probably wondering, what is it like to live in Vietnam? You probably have a lot of misconceptions. You've probably seen a lot of different, movies, war movies, things like that. You might think that there might be some kind of bad blood or hostility. Well, I'm going to give you, obviously, I can't generalize the whole country, and I can't speak for everybody. I can give you my personal experience and from everybody else that I've heard from and known. So, what is it like to be an American in Vietnam? Drum roll. It's like being anywhere else, in the sense of you do not feel alienated. You'll feel different because of the culture gap if you don't speak Vietnamese, but you do not feel in any sense whatsoever unwelcomed. You don't feel any kind of hostility. You don't feel, there's never been a situation or a time or an experience where I felt some kind of prejudice against me for being an American. This one of the wonderful things about Vietnam is how accepting the culture is and the people are, not just of Americans but just of everybody. And I asked one of my Vietnamese, somebody I care about, why, and they said that Vietnam is a small country and it's a lot easier to make friends than it is to keep enemies. Vietnam has kept its independence, kept its, has won every war it's ever fought, has kept its national identity, and a lot of that was by, being welcoming. And it's also a culture of welcoming, of being kind, of respect, and it's no different. So you might come here thinking, okay, there was a war fought between America and Vietnam in the 50 years ago. I forget how long, 30. It's probably been longer than that now. 1960s, 50s, whatever it was, right? From my understanding, Ho Chi Minh, who was the leader at the time, taught the Vietnamese a message of forgiveness, of national unity, of forgiving, of healing, of instead of like holding grudges against different countries, instead to try to work together, to try to heal the wounds of the past. And because of that, you do not see, you don't see any sense of you just don't see any sense of hostility or any. I never get mean looks. I tell somebody I'm American. A lot of times people will be very curious and they'll be very excited, to ask me questions about what my home is like, or people want to take photos with me just because they saw the Avengers, which is an American movie, or the novelty of meeting an American or something like that, because we have funny accents. So you will be welcomed as an American. Now, I have heard that the older generations, some of the older generations that might have fought in the war, that might be a little bit different. But, even then, they're not going to come out. In my experience, I've never heard of them like coming out looking, to try to fight you. This ain't even a culture of violence, to be honest with you. At least not in the north where I'm at. It is one of the most peaceful countries that I've seen. I mean, coming from America, where we have fights, and gangs, and shootings, and granted, of course, there's all that stuff. I'm sure here, I'm not sure. I know there is here, but like Vietnamese is just Vietnam is just a very peaceful but strong country. Walk quiet, softly, but carry a big stick kind of philosophy. Make friends, not enemies, but not be afraid to stand up for yourself when need be. And Vietnam has a reputation for being one of the most welcoming countries in Asia to Americans. Now, granted, Vietnam does not have any American, military presence. So if you're a veteran, you're not going to be like in the Philippines or Japan or Korea where there's going to be like veterans, VAs, stuff like that. You're not going to, have any resources besides the U.S. Embassy in Hanoi, and I think there's one in Ho Chi Minh City. But yeah, you are going to be welcome. A normal day for me is just when I first got here, there was a lot of people kind of looking at me, kind of who is this stranger, who is this, but that's just normal. Whenever somebody new moves to your town, you're kind of intrigued by them, right? Who is this? You might be taken advantage of if you don't know the prices of things. I noticed that like at markets and stuff like that, there will be a price hike until you get your reputation known, until you get your name known, until people start to recognize you that you're not just some tourist, that you're a teacher here. Teacher does come with a lot of prestige in Vietnam. This is a prestigious job that's very respected and looked up to by. So, but yeah, if you go to like a market, for example, there was a time I went to a market and there was a lady selling these little sausages, and the Vietnamese lady in front of me bought one for $5,000 right in front of me, right? And then I asked for one, and she asked for 20,000. And I didn't know how to speak Vietnamese, but I was able to, infer like, wait a minute, you just charged her 5, why 20? And the lady, of course, kind of blushed. You could tell she was busted. And I was like, no, 5. And, she spoke in Vietnamese. She kind of panicked or whatever. I could tell, she was caught red-handed. And eventually she accepted 5. And you're going to find that out a lot. If you'll stand up for yourself in those situations when you first come out here, when it comes to, the prices, if somebody tries to overcharge you something just for being a Westerner, being an American, stand up for yourself. Just be like, no. Be confident, be bold, and yeah. And then once you're recognized in the community, once people kind of know you, you've established a name for yourself. You don't really have to worry about that worry about that anymore. But yeah, that is your experience. Now, in Hanoi, places like that, there is thousands of expats or Westerners, so it's not going to be a problem. I imagine Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City is the same thing. But I'm speaking in, tier 3, tier 4 cities where you might be one of only a few Westerners. The real Vietnam is what I've tried to dedicate my channel to. Teaching people and telling people like, hey, don't come out here just to stay in a little expat bubble. Don't come out here just to play it safe. Come out here where you're the only person who might look like you, who might live like you, who might listen to the same music like you, who might have the hobbies like you, and therefore you become a sponge of learning, the culture that you're in. And you also have something to offer back in return because people are going to be curious to learn about you. It's a two-way street, and it's a fascinating experience. But I have always felt welcomed. I have always felt that people have gone out of their ways to treat me with kindness, to help me. If I go to a supermarket and I need to find jelly, you get on Google Translate, somebody is quick to help you. Like, you're never going to have somebody just, for the sake of you know, being American treats you cruel. So yeah, that is the quick and short answer. If you're wondering what it is to be an American in Vietnam, outside of tier one big cities where there's 1,000 million other Westerners, you know, it's gonna feel like anywhere else. In the beginning, it's gonna be a little bit challenging, a little bit hard. But like the other day, I was at my favorite place, Space Coffee, right? And people just wanted to take some pictures of me. I don't know the context of it. I don't know why, but they just laughed and they liked my motorcycle. They liked my Batman helmet, and they're like, "Hey, can we get a picture with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure." So I don't know why, but hey, we all threw up funny signs, and we all did some dabbing and stuff, and it was all in good spirits, and you're just gonna feel good about that. A lot of American culture is inspired Vietnam. So yeah, I mean, people will be interested in learning about what it is to be an American. What it's like in your home. So if you make friends, they will be interested to hear your story just as much as you'll be interested to hear theirs. So yeah, we'll keep this one short. I hope that answers your question. Now keep in mind one last time. If you play it safe, if you stay in Hanoi, if you stay in Ho Chi Minh City, if you stay in Halong Bay and all these other tourist spots, well, then none of this applies. You might as well be in New York City. You might as well be in any other city. But go to the real Vietnam. Go to the tier 3, tier 4 cities. Go to these places where you're on your own, where you will like a goal of mine would be to be Vietnamese American. What an honor that would be if I could have that title, or American Vietnamese, I guess. Yeah, unfortunately, I can never be that. Even if I married a Vietnamese woman, I would never be a Vietnamese citizen. But I could definitely be welcomed by the people of the community, the city, the culture, and it's all about respect. It's all about respect. As an American, if you come here, you give respect. You're a guest in this beautiful country. You're a guest of these people, of these people's homes, of their history, their heritage. Like you will give respect. If you don't, then you make every American look bad. So keep that in mind. It's all about respect here. So, anyways. Thank you for supporting my channel. The next video I will do is about dating in Vietnam, what it's like to date as an American in Vietnam. So I'll do that video maybe in a week or so. So, all right, thank you. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. And also, if you're interested in a TEFL, remember that I have a partnership with an online TEFL company called TEFL Graduate. They're now offering a 120-hour online class. It is accredited worldwide, will get you into Vietnam teaching. I am a graduate myself, and I have a promotion code of JN120. Letter J, letter N, 120. You put that in when you check out. And yeah, the total price is like $99. It's ridiculously a good deal. And it comes with job placement. It comes with all the services you'll need. So it is not a scam. It is the real thing. I invite you to go look for yourself. So, all right. Gamoon, and I hope to see you later. Bye-bye. Thanks.